I can go sit at my piano.
30
John.
seconds.
Yeah.
30 seconds till Facebook Live. 22 now. 20. FYI. I could put some music on my computer.
No, I think we're
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
My TV is still on the city schools page.
Yeah,
I'm going to I'll go ahead and flip that right now.
We are live on Facebook.
Yes, I see we are. Yeah.
John, do you hear audio on the Spectrum?
Stacy told me to turn it off. Let me see. Somebody say something now.
Yes, it's audio on it. I can hear
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're all set. Looks like we're live.
Okay.
All right.
You're all set, John.
All right, we're going to call the Monday regular Ashtabula City Council meeting Monday, April 6, 2020 to order. At this time, we would have a prayer. Mrs. Foglio, would you lead us in prayer this evening?
Yes. Heavenly Father, we ask you to let your inspiration precede this council's actions and all present here today, and your assistance further us so that every word and work of ours may take its beginning from you, and so
Yes.
begun, may through you reach its completion. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Foglio. And we will recite the pledge, even though we're all in different locations. So I pledge allegiance
to the flag
United States of America,
and to the
republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Will you want to call the roll, Ms. Sensky?
Yes. Ms. Haynes?
I'm here.
Mrs. Foglio?
Here.
Mr. Crawford?
Here.
Ms. Young?
Here.
Ms. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Spielman?
Here.
Mr. Roskovic?
Here.
Mr. Timonier?
Here.
Mr. Franklin?
Here.
And Ms. Welch?
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum established this evening, and I believe we are meeting the requirements of the Sunshine Law in our present format, as different as it may be. So due to the current stay-at-home order imposed by Governor DeWine, may I have a motion to suspend the council rules of order for the duration of this meeting?
I'll make that motion. I
I have a
second.
motion by Ms. Haynes and a second by Ms. Young.
Yes.
Ms. Sensky, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Spielman?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovic?
Yes. Thank you. And at this time, we will deviate from our regular agenda. We are going to hear remarks from the Ashtabula City Health Commissioner, Miss Christine Young, and she's going to give us an update on observations and some recommendations. So thank you very much for being with us, Miss Hill.
You're welcome. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Good evening,
Yes.
everybody. This is just a brief report from the Ashtabula City Health Department. I wanted to do a brief recap on the COVID-19 numbers for the state of Ohio and for our county and for our city. The state of Ohio had at 2 o'clock on this day 4,450 confirmed cases, with 1,214 of those being hospitalized. Here in Ashtabula County, we have a total of 15 cases. 9 of the cases are in the jurisdiction of Ashtabula County Health Department. 6 of those cases are in the jurisdiction of the Ashtabula City Health Department. Conneaut City at this time has no cases. I think it's noteworthy to say that over the weekend, our case count climbed by 7. So, we are seeing things ramp up as expected. 5 of our county residents are currently hospitalized. So that's just a brief overview. I want to talk a little bit about some of the work that we're doing here in the health department. I'll start with our nursing division. Our nursing division is responsible for case investigations, and together with me, we manage the isolation and the quarantine of those positive cases. As I said, we currently have 6 positive cases, and we are managing 20 folks in quarantine on this day. We did have some guidance from the Ohio Department of Health and the CDC as far as our procedures for tracing contact. That is a model that we use to try to contain the spread of the virus by interviewing people that have interaction with the positive cases. We are focusing, as always, on people that have close, which means closer than 6 foot distance, and prolonged, which means greater than 10 to 15 minute face-to-face type contact. And we are tracing people now with the new guidance, tracing people. We're looking back back 48 hours prior to the person's symptoms onset. So that is our new guidance and what we will be using moving forward unless it changes once again. We still have priority groups that we really are focusing on, and those are our first responders, our hospital workers, our healthcare workers. They are priority concerns for the obvious reason. We need these folks on the job. Over the past week here in Ashtabula City, we have had 2 Ashtabula firefighters tested for the COVID virus. Thankfully, both have been negative. I can say that we have had a very good experience with both UH hospital systems and ACMC Cleveland Clinic hospital systems priority testing procedures. They do fast track the first responders, healthcare workers, and hospital workers, and because we need to know that information right away because it is so impactful on what we're doing. And we had a very good experience with those systems. We also have another priority group that we keep a very close contact with and a close eye on, and that would be our folks that are in the long-term care facilities and the nursing homes. They're a priority population because they are housed together and they are very vulnerable and medically fragile. So we do have a very close and tight relationship with them. We are working through in the nursing division some recent recommendations that came out of Dr. Acton's and the governor's briefings. Basically, Ohio is recommending, but not requiring, the use of masks by the general public. I want to make a couple points about that recommendation. The recommendation is to wear cloth face coverings when in public to help slow the spread of the COVID virus. It is important that people understand and do not use medical supply masks as those are reserved for healthcare workers, first responders, and people who are known to be sick. It is also important to understand that wearing a mask is not a substitute for social distancing. Social distancing of 6 foot is still vitally important. It is not a substitute for the stay-at-home order. It is not a substitute for staying home or home from work when you are ill. It's also important to note that the recommendation for using masks is not for people who have great difficulty breathing or for an incapacitated person who couldn't remove their own masks. And also we caution and should not use masks on children that are under the age of 2 because they may not be able to remove their own masks if they have trouble breathing. So that is kind of a summary of the nursing division and some of the challenges and some of the messaging that we are, pushing out and focusing on this week. In the environmental health division, we're working very hard to enforce the stay-at-home and essential work order. That was amended, and there are some essential important changes with the amendment. One of the big ones is that businesses are to determine and enforce a maximum number of customers that are allowed in a store at one time. And this is to ensure the 6 foot social distancing. They have to ensure that all lines within the store, while people are waiting to check out or outside the store, if they're waiting to enter the store, all those waiting queue lines, the people have to be controlled and they have to ensure the 6 foot social distancing requirement. We also received some guidance with the requirement that public swimming pools, pools at private clubs, and pools at housing complexes are to be closed. We also received guidance about campgrounds. Campgrounds are to be closed. There is a slight exception, and this would be an exception of a camper or an RV in a campground that serves as a citizen's permanent residence, and that they have been unable to make any alternate housing arrangements. They are to observe the stay-at-home order using their RV. That is the exception to closing campgrounds. In Vital Statistics Division, our Vital Statistics and our administrative assistant has been very busy answering public calls, directing calls to the right divisions here in the health department. We've been utilizing the COVID-19 211 call center. It is open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And we also are still encouraging people to call the ODH COVID-19 hotline at 1-833-427-5634. Vital Statistics has still been busy using phone ordering to supply birth certificates and death certificates and burial permits. And we've also been working very closely with our funeral directors for them to understand the changes and things that are happening surrounding the recommendations for their businesses also. That is pretty much the end of my report. I'm happy to take questions or listen to comments. We've been very, very busy. I can't say enough about my staff. They are just fantastic people. They're here long hours. They're here every day. They just are very, very committed. The people of Ashtabula City have been wonderful. We've had very, very good compliance. Yes, we've had blips. Yes, we've had people who don't understand or maybe don't value some of the things that we're saying. But for the most part, people have been very, very, very cooperative. You know, we do get quite a few complaints about the essential business orders and concerns, and that does keep us very busy. We do investigate and follow through with every one of those complaints to be sure that the workers that are in essential businesses are being kept as safe as they possibly can. I want to thank Jim Timonier and both the police and the fire department for their support through this. They have been extremely supportive and valuable, and we couldn't do it without them.
Are there questions? Ms. Hill, I was just going to ask, the 6-foot distancing rule, that applies outside as well, right? I think, Jim, you've like closed down the basketball courts and such, because the 6-foot rule applies outside also. You should be 6-foot spacing when you know, like not sitting on a picnic table and all that, right?
You're 100% correct. It applies inside and outside. It's a distancing rule to keep the spread down. It doesn't matter where you are.
Right. Okay.
And Mr. Roskovich, just to touch on the basketball court issue, we were having some issues with, especially when it was warm that one Sunday, large groups of kids and young adults at the basketball court, hanging out, playing basketball. And again, you've got a basketball that everybody's touching. In other municipalities, they were actually taking down their rims and backboards. We kind of have the luxury of it being fenced off, so we just locked it for this time. But yeah, it's tough to keep the kids apart, you know, especially when you have one side of things telling you to go out and be active, and then there's certain sports where obviously you can't be active at. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Ms. Hill?
Mr. President, there's just a lot of confusion. A lot of families are asking, you know, if they are allowed to be outside, period. And in my understanding, I'm believing they are. It's just the social distancing piece they have to adhere to. And then some families also have large families. So sometimes it might look
Right. I do. I understand that. And, you know, you've got to remember, though, even if you're outside, even if you're social distance, if you, you know, they want you to remain with your core family, the family you live with, as much as possible. I know it's hard. We're a very, very social culture, and I understand how difficult it is. But, you know, we have to try to adhere to the spirit of this order if we're going to slow this down and give our first responders and our hospitals a fighting chance to respond to this. So, you know, the spirit of the order is trying not to mix, even with our extended family. I know it's difficult, but certainly, yes, you can go outside, you can go for a walk, you know, those type of things, you know, just, you know, paying attention to the social distancing and, you know, what you're doing.
Mr. President, this is Jane Haynes. Can I ask a question?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Jane.
So would you just touch, I mean, Easter's coming up, and I think that we all have this sinking, sick feeling in our stomach, because usually Easter is where you have that larger gathering of extended family, friends. Do you want to address that with the public?
Sure, I would be happy to. This past Sunday was Palm Sunday, so I felt like it was a little bit of a, you know, a preview of perhaps what we'll see. We have had great compliance. Our churches really have worked very hard to protect their parishioners and to be mindful of the orders. Many churches are, you know, live streaming their services. They're making their services available, you know, over the internet in different ways. You know, and the churches that are having services, they are exempt. Religious ceremonies are exempt from the rule. However, you know, we strongly encourage them to protect their church members. And most pastors, most people really want to do that and are doing that. And as far as gathering on Easter Sunday as an extended family after church, that is not recommended. Going on Facebook or, you know, Facebook Live or Skype or, you know, FaceTiming or some other way to connect to your family, that is encouraged. But you really need to not gather in large groups. We're supposed to stay under the number 10, and really they want you to be with your core family that you live with. They really would like no mixing unless, you know, it just can't be helped. And I think most of us can find a way to work through that.
Thank you.
Ms. Hill, I was just, I know this wasn't anything that originated in your office, but I read with interest the report that gave Ashtabula County a D-. Do you have any further thought as to why we scored so low compared to like Lake and Geauga counties and such? I mean, was there something, did you see that, or was there something specific that we could be doing?
No, I did not see that. I mean, was that related to COVID-19 or what was that?
Yeah, it was some kind of study out of Norway, and they rated all the counties in the states, and Ashtabula County received a D-, and like I think like Lake County got an A-, or and Geauga, and it really wasn't specific as to what we were doing wrong that resulted in such a low mark. And I didn't know, Jim, you didn't get any more information on that, did you? I know it was just a newspaper article, but I wondered.
Yeah, Mr. President, I haven't seen the actual report. However, I do know a little bit about it. What it was based on was cell phone tracking. So I don't know how it depends on, I guess, sometimes when you're at home and you're on your Wi-Fi network and it shows, you go to a store and it says your nearest store is in Warren because your internet connection is actually pinging off of, a server outside of Ashtabula itself. I don't know if that plays into any portion of that cell phone data or not. But I did see that. And I guess my comment back to that would be, yes, we do have a lot of people still going to grocery stores. A lot of the businesses in town are still open. A lot of the factories are considered essential. So you do have some travel there. And we also have a transient population that might be working in Cleveland or Youngstown, Mentor, even Erie, PA, that they're still considered essential and are traveling to those areas. So I did not dive into the details of that report for its accuracy or how they judge it. But yeah, we did see that. I would say for the most part, we've definitely seen a lot less traffic around town than what we usually see. And the governor did, when we had a phone conference with him earlier last week, he did state that gas tax right now is down 40% around the state of Ohio. So it's hitting home, and people, I think, are getting it. Obviously, you're not going to control everyone, but I think for the most part, people are getting it.
Okay, good. Yeah, that was just odd. It was odd or interesting. I don't know what word to say, but are there any other questions?
If I'm able to find that, I will shoot it off to council.
Did you include me in on that too, Jim? Because I hadn't seen it at all. I never heard. Thank you.
Yeah. It was an article. I think it was maybe Friday in the paper, Thursday or Friday, and it was interesting. But I just didn't understand it. That we were doing so poorly compared to everybody else. I thought we were doing pretty good. I really do. Like Ms. Hill says, I think we're really trying here. So, are there any other comments or questions for Ms. Hill? Ms. Hill?
I do. I have one.
Go ahead.
This is Ladine Young in Ward 3. Once you contact the virus, can you get it again, or is that it?
That's a good question. And, it is a novel virus, and we are still trying to understand the virus. The answer is we don't know. I think that we'll know more in about a year from now. They're studying people. They know, at least initially, you have antibodies and or probably have some protection. We have no idea if that wears off. We have no idea if this novel virus will shift or drift or change a little bit, just enough so that the antibodies you had from the first infection would help you in a second infection. It's all yet to be determined, but all very good questions and things that are on the radar for our scientists, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Mike Franklin here. The one experience that I have had, or the one bit of information that I have received that sort of ties into your question about is Ashtabula County complying or not, is this. I did see late last week, or it might have even been this morning, but certainly within the last couple of days, the first report of police officers citing people for violating the health department and local and state health department orders not to congregate. And in this context, it was outside the city. It was in one of the townships, one of the township parks, actually. Some young people, not members of the same family, congregated in the sense that they were all together in a car, and they went to one of the township parks to get high, to smoke some marijuana. And just from what I can see, that might be where we see some non-compliance in the young people. Also, I'm going to note for our listeners, of course, smoking marijuana or being caught with marijuana is typically a minor misdemeanor. It's a fine only. However, violating the health department orders and the governor's orders concerning non-congregation, that's a first-degree misdemeanor. That can land you in jail up to 6 months and cost you a fine of up to $1,000. And I think these young people involved in this who've received those citations and will have to come to court are not to be put too fine a point on it. I hope they're going to be sobered by that experience.
Wow, thank you very much. That's interesting and good to know, I guess. Yes. Anything else before we excuse Miss Hill? I'm sure she would like to go home, I guess, or and conclude her day. Anything else?
Mr. President, I would just like to add, Ms. Hill and her staff have been absolutely amazing to watch and to learn from, and their work on this is truly unbelievable. Their care for the people that they have under their watch right now, the information that they feed me to get out there to the public, so we keep our public informed, is absolutely incredible. And, you know, to put this in perspective, we, of course, as Ms. Hill said, we have 6 cases here in the city, and they pretty much have worked every day of the week for at least the past 3 weeks on this issue, and we only have 6. And as we all know that the surge is still coming, that there's still a lot more to be found out and a lot more to go here. But that just tells you, you know, our little health department is not unlike many other health departments in the state. The collaboration that they have between other health departments is, again, amazing to watch. I've been on, in the room when they've been having conference calls with our county health department and other agencies. Right now, everybody is working very, very well together. It took a little while for that to get started and get moving. And I would say that was very much led by Chris and my office to really get the county moving in the right direction and all on the same page. We have 3 conference calls a week with all stakeholders in the county. And Chris is a vital part of that discussion, giving her report from our health department. So I know I've said it many of times, but I am very glad Chris and her staff are on our team right now. And I very, very much appreciate what they're doing for us during this time.
Thank you, Jim,
Thank you.
And thank you to the council too for your support. And we are all in this together. So have a good Easter, and be safe. And we'll check in with you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll continue on with our regular meeting at this time. Ms. Sensky, do you have some minutes for approve?
Yes, I do. We have the March 16th, 2020 regular council meeting minutes. The council president called the Monday, March 16th, 2020 regular council meeting to order. The Ward 3 councilor offered the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance was recited. The members present were Ms. Harris, Ms. Haynes, Mrs. Foglio, Mr. Crawford, Ms. Young, Mr. Spielman, and Mr. Roskovics. The officers present were Mr. Timonier, Ms. Welch, Mr. Franklin, and Mrs. Sensky. The March 19th, 2020 emergency council meeting minutes. The council president called an emergency council meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Thursday, March 19th, 2020, and offered the prayer. The Pledge of Allegiance was recited. The members present were Mrs. Foglio, Mr. Crawford, Ms. Young, Ms. Harris, Ms. Haynes, Mr. Spielman, and Mr. Roskovics. The officers present were Mr. Timonier, Ms. Welch, Mr. Franklin, Chief Stell, Chief Gruber, and Mrs. Sensky.
May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
That
Second.
Ms. Foglio moved and Ms. Haynes seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, we probably should have a roll call, huh? Because we're on the phone. Can we have a roll call, Ms. Sensky?
Yes. Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Spielman?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovics?
Yes. And the minutes have been approved by a 7-0 vote. Mr. Timonier, you have your city manager's report and some requests.
I do. Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would like a resolution in support of the designation of U.S. and state bicycle routes within the corporation with the cooperation of the Ohio Department of Transportation.
I move on the manager's request.
Second.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Haynes, a second by Ms. Young. Ms. Sensky, will you call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Ms. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Spielman?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovics?
Yes, we will add that item by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with Ropes Tree and Stump Service of Saybrook, Ohio, to provide dumping of yard debris for the city of Ashtabula in the amount not to exceed $9,900 annually for yard debris. Larger quantities of wood or stumps will be charged an additional rate of $50 per truckload as needed.
Mr. President, move on that
Yes.
motion of the city manager.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Crawford and a second by Ms. Haynes. Ms. Sensky, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Spielman?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovics?
Yes, we will add that item by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to enter into an easement agreement with Petman USA for an easement for ingress and egress purposes over city property located on East 5th Street.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Second that.
Ms. Haynes moved, and who seconded?
Calvin did.
Mr. Crawford, thank you. Mr. Haynes, Ms. Haynes second, Mr. Crawford. Ms. Haynes moved, Mr. Crawford second. I'm sorry. Please call the roll.
Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Spielman?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovics?
Yes. We will add that item by a 7-0 vote. Mr. Timonier?
Mr. Roskowitz, just some clarification on that last easement request. So down at the wastewater treatment plant, out in front is where we have property all along the fence line there. They need some of that area to make their entrance into the what will be their factory. So this easement agreement will essentially entail we'll just have this easement there for them so that they can use it in perpetuity. They will be responsible for constructing and maintaining that entranceway, whatever they build on there, for the life of their property. And then that easement will stay with the property. Just for some clarification there.
Oh, very good.
Lastly, I would like an ordinance to enter into an easement agreement with Aqua, Ohio, for a utility easement over city property near Henry Street between Marina Drive and Goodwill Drive in anticipation of the new Riverbend Hotel. They are putting a new water line in from the main line out on Bridge Street. Most of this is going to be boring rather than digging the property up, but they're putting in a larger water line to service the hotel.
Mr. President, I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Ms. Foglio moves, and
Crawford
Mr.
second.
Crawford seconds. Ms. Sensky, please call the roll.
Yes, Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roscovic.
Yes, we will add that item by a 7-0 vote. Mr. Timoneer, did we miss one ordinance request?
We should have had the bike. We should have the bike route, the yard waste disposal, Petman USA, and Aqua.
How about, do we have ordinance 2020-36 waiving interest and penalties?
I believe the finance director is going to ask for that.
Oh, all right, I see. Okay, I have it under your, all right, thank you very much,
Okay.
Mr. Timoneer. Mr. Franklin, do you have anything for us this evening?
Mr. Roscovic?
Yes.
I do have a few other things to go over real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay, not a
This is
problem.
awkward, isn't it?
Yes. So a couple things to note. Yes, as Ms. Hill mentioned, our parks are going to become an issue. We've done our best to, we've zip tied all the swing sets up. We've tried to rope off all of the playground sets. We do have the police kind of patrolling and looking out for this stuff. We realize it's hard on people, but everybody's got to realize what we're up against here. And the sooner that we practice all this stuff and slow the spread and get rid of the spread, the faster we can return to somewhat normal life after this. Last time we met, there was a question about the lifeguards for the beach and the payment that we have per day. I did circle back with Trevor from the Y. We did agree that every day that the beach remains closed, where they can't have the lifeguards out there because of COVID-19, there would be a $380 discount per day on that. So we're going to just write up a simple amendment to the contract. You guys have already approved a number amount, so if we do have to keep the beach closed, we'll just deduct those days off of what was in the contract for the open and close date of the beach. At this time, because of the restrictions and everything that are on restaurants, I'm unsure what's going to happen with the concession stand. We have also reached out to a lot of the bands that we had set up for bands on the beach. Many of them have allowed us to put a COVID-19 clause in the contract, which says if it's canceled, they don't expect the money for that. So just a little update on the parks there. One thing that is keeping myself up, besides what's going on with human life in our country and our county, between Ms. Welsh and I, we have been going over the budget. In a conference call with the governor and lieutenant governor, their recommendation is all of political subdivisions in the state of Ohio try to reduce their budgets by roughly 20%. So we are running some models to see what that looks like. As I mentioned earlier, gas tax in the state of Ohio right now is down 40% since this started. That funds our public works, and we were able to not supplement from the general fund into public works because of that additional gas tax that we're receiving. Most of you know that the transfer station is closed at our public works department right now. So we have not been taking in income from people dumping extra trash there. We are going to reanalyze that and see if there are a way that maybe we can open the transfer station for large materials at a shorter hours, or if we can do some things to try to remain social distance down there from staff and from other people. So we're going to work on that in the upcoming weeks and see if we can modify that. We know we're getting a lot of calls. People at home are now doing a lot of spring cleaning. So there are some large items that we need to address. Hopefully we can do that for them. Fines and court fees, we do anticipate will also be down. So we're going to reach out to the judge and see if they can modify their budget as well. But I am extremely, extremely concerned with where the budget is going to end, depending on how long this goes. So we may have to do some things to try to protect that budget going forward, and I'll keep you apprised on those. Just two more things. First off, we were getting some confusion on food distribution for those in need in our community. Mary Church and our Planning Community Development Department, working with some county agencies, have been checking in on these locations, and we've actually found that most of them are still remaining open. They may have modified hours or days. So we are currently compiling a list of these locations for our residents that are in need. And we will post that on our Facebook page, and I'll also put it on our website so that people have access to that. In addition, I know the Ashtabula Area City Schools is doing a tremendous job on food distribution. They even decided to continue food distribution through what would have been spring break. They do sometimes update their locations, so follow their Facebook page or check their website for those locations. But they're doing a tremendous job on that. And lastly, just my couple thoughts on the coronavirus and some of the things that we're hearing in the community. I know that a lot of people, are still out there saying, well, look at how many cases of the flu that we have, and look at all the deaths that we have in the flu. Why are we reacting this way to COVID? Why are we shutting down the economy and keeping people at home when the numbers don't add up to what that is? And I guess my comment back to that would be the flu treatment, because we have vaccines and because we have antivirals, the effect on the human body with the flu is nothing like it is with COVID. And what you're seeing now is the hospital systems are becoming overrun and they're at capacity. We don't have that with the flu. We don't have hospitals scrambling for ventilators, and we don't have people scrambling for PPE because it is so infectious. And that is the big difference. So while the stats may not look the same, not to mention we are still not testing everybody that we should be testing. You still can't just walk into a doctor's office and get this test. So we truly don't know the scope of this. There definitely is, a lot of people surviving this, but those that actually are in need of medical attention, the average stay for a COVID case is 17 days. And we're not just talking about, getting some fluids in you and you have a cough. You are talking about patients that are high touch, that are on ventilators, that need constant care, that are in ICUs. And our medical systems are not set up for this to be a day-to-day occurrence. So what the governor of the state of Ohio and many other governors have done by slowing the spread has allowed us to ramp up and make provisions for when this surge comes. If we can keep this, where they keep talking about the curve, if we can keep this curve going up gradually and eventually leveling off, that is the way that we're going to allow our healthcare systems to operate. And that is going to be the way that those people that can be saved can be saved. Can you imagine having your loved one when you can't even be there with them, admitted into an ICU, and then finding out later they're just going to have to wait for a ventilator? And that's the situation we don't want to get to. And it's not that situation in the country yet. And hopefully we never get to that spot. But that is, if these states and the federal government hadn't taken the actions that they had, we could have hit those peaks. We could have had 3,000 to 5,000 cases immediately, even here in the county, and that would have overrun and overwhelmed our healthcare system to the point where we couldn't keep up with it, and we would be losing a lot more people than what we actually are. So I think people need to keep that in mind. You know, this isn't the flu. For some people, it may be, but for those that are going to need medical care, it is an intensive medical care, and that is why there's been so much attention put onto this versus other viruses that have hit. Mr. President, that's all I have for my report.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Timoner. Those are certainly good words. Mr. Franklin?
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, our department is, of course, working half-staff. The assistant solicitor and one of the secretaries works a week, and then I and the other secretary work a week. We're doing this to maintain distancing, to keep as many of us as healthy as possible for as long as possible. We're keeping up with the workload, but just barely. It helps in that respect that reports from the police and the sheriff's department are down a little bit. So I'm reading that as meaning people are staying home. Maybe people are a little more concerned about this than they like to let on, and they're behaving a little bit better. That's probably wishful thinking on my part, but that's what's allowing us to keep up at this point. And if I may, while not technically part of my duties as a city solicitor, I did want to, since I've just recently gone through the process, I just wanted to make the small business owners in our community aware that one of the things available to them in the federal relief bill is the so-called Paycheck Protection Program. And for my private office, I recently went through that application process. It's quite simple. I mean, you do have to have your payroll records in hand to show what your average monthly payroll is. But you know, if you're a small business, 500 or fewer employees, you've had a decrease in business due to COVID-19, and who hasn't? Basically, you are pre-approved for a Small Business Administration completely forgivable loan of 2.5 times your average monthly payroll. What that means by forgivable is you have to use that money to bring your people back on the payroll or keep them on the payroll, but you can also use the money to pay rent and pay utilities. It's not going to be the be all and end all, but it will allow you to bridge the gap, so to speak, keep your business alive on paper, keep your employees on your payroll. You know, selfishly as a city official, it's great that it will allow you to pay payroll taxes and maybe lessen a little of the impact on the city coffers. But the important thing is you need to apply. Now, any lending institution is authorized to handle the paperwork on such a loan. There are also some portals on the internet that will take the application. There are a couple of lending institutions in the Ashtabula area that were already previously approved for SBA loans. The one that comes to mind right now is the Andover Bank. There's at least one other. I can't think of the name right now, but I just wanted the small business owners out there to understand that there is some relief available. You just have to pick up the phone and call and get your records together. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. We appreciate that. Ms. Welch?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say a couple things before I get into the ordinance request that I have. I know that you, Mr. Maraska, got a phone call about payments, them not seeing our customers, our service billing customers not seeing they're worried about their payments not getting posted. I kind of went into a little bit of an example in that email. My office, like Mr. Franklin's, in order to honor the social distancing request that we have, I'm working with half a staff, and my total staff is 7 people right now. So 4 are working half of the time, and the other 3 are the other half. And of the 7 are primarily, there's 2 that are primarily income tax, and they deal mainly with that. So unfortunately, when all of this mandate came across, as far as trying to split the staff and work half time to keep the social distancing, it was the week of when all these bills were due. So, and there's only one of those, one person in our office that primarily opens it. And I pitch in, like I brought mail home. I was opening mail, trying to get the stuff processed while I was at home. But it has to be scanned and entered and balanced and all that good stuff. So basically what I'm trying to say is that for the customers to, if you get calls, please let them know we're working as quickly as we can to get these payments posted. And just be patient. And right now we're not going to do any penalties or assign any penalties for bills that were due on the 30th because of all of this. So I just wanted to, make sure that you are all aware that we're doing everything we can to make sure everybody gets their payments applied. It's just going to take a little bit of extra time. Did anyone have any questions in regards to that? No? Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead with my. What?
Mr. President,
Yes,
if you don't mind, and Ms. Welsh and I talked about this morning. One of the other questions that we're getting from a lot of people is about the service fee that's on the bills when you pay online. And just so everyone's aware, that's not a service fee that the city actually collects. Ohio Revised Code does not allow the city to cover the costs that are associated with people processing payments. So that's actually a charge from the credit card companies that is just the cost of doing business. Again, Ohio Revised Code does not allow us to just pay that, because now they're actually paying less or the city is actually getting less for the service if we cover those costs for certain people. That is a cost that goes directly to the processing company that handles that for us. The state legislature has not done anything to remove that clause from ORC, and these processing companies have not done anything to relax that. So that fee will be there if you pay online. However, the drop box is still available in the drive-through. You can still mail your payments in. And most banks, as Ms. Welsh reminded me today, most banks do bill pay online, so they will send the check in for you for free. So there are other methods if you want to avoid, I think it's $2.95 for that processing fee. If you want to avoid that, there are other ways to get your payment to us so that you don't incur that cost.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Timonier and Ms. Welch. Ms. Welch, you have some ordinance requests this evening?
Yes, I do. My first one is I'm formally requesting an ordinance waiving interest and penalties on the Ashtabula municipal income tax for 2019 if returns are filed and taxes paid by July 15th of 2020.
I move on the finance director's recommendation.
Second.
Ms. Haynes moves. Ms. Young seconds. Please call the roll.
Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roscovic.
Yes. We will add that item by a 7-0 vote. Ms. Welch?
My next ordinance request is to make supplemental appropriations in the general public works and CDBG funds for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Ashtabula, state of Ohio for the period of January 1 through December 31st, 2020.
Mr. President, I move on the finance director's recommendation.
Ms. Foglio moves.
I'll second that.
Mr. Crawford will second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
and Mr. Roscovic.
Yes. Ms. Welch?
Lastly, I'm formally requesting an ordinance authorizing the city finance director to enter into a modification agreement with Charles E. Harris and Associates and the state auditor Keith Faber for the city of Ashtabula's annual audits in order to include the city health department and the city port authority.
I move on the finance director's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Haynes,
Second.
second by Ms.
second.
Foglio. Please call the roll.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
and Mr. Roscovic.
Yes. Is there anything else, Ms. Welch?
No, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all the information. Ms. Sensky, do you have anything for us this evening?
I do, Mr. Roscovic. I've been working from home. This is my 10th day working mostly out of home, although tonight I am in the building. I wanted to let everybody know that the emails I can still access my home, and the office phone is being forwarded to my cell phone so I can take your calls, and I report them to the department that needs to be reported to or the council members, either way that goes. I also wanted to say that many of my peers in the other Ohio municipalities are handling meetings very similarly to ours, and that's mostly due to the House Bill 197 that was passed in order to make available virtual public meetings like tonight for municipalities. And this is the first ever council meeting that's on Facebook Live. And so far, and I shared it onto my page, I've had the highest number was 27 people on watching on Facebook Live, my watch party. So we really appreciate the public's patience, and we're glad you're participating. Keep those questions and comments coming. And I just wanted to let council know also that I'm in my last week, my final week of the High Performance Leadership Academy. And I found the course to be very informational and exciting, not only professionally, but on a personal level. And I look forward to sharing what I've learned. And also was asked to summarize my personal key points by the leadership coach. So Friday I'll be involved in another teleconference call that we've had weekly with this program and sharing my thoughts and my key takeaways. Then knowing that this class was ending, I did enroll in another class, Introduction to Parliamentary Procedure, Dynamics of Leadership. And there's 12 units in this class and quizzes, and then a proctored final exam. It should take about 3 months. But once I pass the final, I will gain 23 points towards my clerk certification, and I will also be qualified for membership to the National Association of Parliamentarians without any further testing. So So I felt it was a real good bargain as long as I passed.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Sensky, and thank you so much for organizing this this evening. I know you, Mr. Timoner, have been working hard on this to accomplish this, and we're doing okay, I guess. I know most committee meetings or most committees have been canceled. Do any committee members or a chairman have anything they'd like to add? Ms. Haynes?
Yes, I do. So
Okay.
I just, the thought that has gone through my mind, I realize that it's a health crisis that we're in, but I think to many business owners in Ashtabula, it feels like a financial crisis. So we are absolutely going to be reaching out. Mr. Timoner said that he has reached out to some people, kind of taking their temperature during this time. But as information comes to us by way of state of Ohio, we will be reaching out to the business community, and we want all the businesses that were in Ashtabula, if not more, before this crisis, after this crisis. So just stay tuned. We are all in this together.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Ms. Foglio, do you have anything? No committee meeting, but do you have anything to add?
No, as soon as we'll be able to get together, we'll be working on the city finances, which is not a pretty picture, but we'll try and do our best.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Foglio. Mr. Crawford?
No, nothing to add at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Mr. Spillman?
Nope, nothing to add.
Thank you, Mr. Spillman. We have our regular business agenda for this evening. Ms. Sensky, are there any requests? Any additional requests?
There are no additional requests for tonight.
Okay, so tonight's agenda includes the following items: designating the U.S. and state bicycle routes, waiving interest and fees on the municipal income tax till July 15th, establishing an easement agreement with Petman Industries, an easement agreement with Aqua, supplemental appropriations, and modification agreements for the annual audits. Do we have any emails or comments concerning these 6 items?
I did not receive any emails regarding these 6 items, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Just excuse me, a little bit more information on the bike route. So this is Ohio and the federal government are establishing bike routes that will be coming through the state of Ohio, one of which is along 531 Lake Road that will come all the way through and continue to head east across the state. Another one comes up from the south and eventually connects with the Western Reserve Greenway Trail around 58th Street, and then and again goes off. I believe that one also goes off to the east. If not, it comes directly up West Avenue where the new bike trail will be, and then connects into Lake Road again. This is just support of the project. It doesn't mean that we're tied to anything financially. It's just support of the project.
Thank you very much. Is there a desire by council this evening to handle this agenda in consent agenda form?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Foglio and a second by?
I'll second it.
Is that Ms. Harris?
It's Jane Haynes. But it
oh, Jane Haynes. I'm sorry.
You can give whoever you want to give credit to. It doesn't matter.
That's okay. Thank you. Yeah. Ms. Sensky, will you call the roll on consent agenda?
Yes. Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Spielman?
Yes.
And Mr. Roskovic?
Yes. And then will you read us tonight's legislation, Ms. Sensky?
Yes, tonight we have resolution number 2020-35, a resolution approving and supporting the designation of U.S. and state bike routes. Ordinance number 2020-36, an ordinance waiving interest and penalties on the Ashtabula municipal income tax for 2019 if returns are filed and taxes paid by July 15th, 2020. Ordinance number 2020-37, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an easement agreement with Petman USA Incorporated for an easement for ingress and egress purposes over city property on East 5th Street. Ordinance number 2020-38, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an easement agreement with Aqua Ohio Incorporated for a utility easement over city property near Henry Street between Marina Drive and Goodwill Drive in anticipation of the new River Bend Hotel. Ordinance 2020-39, an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations in the general public works and CDBG funds for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Ashtabula, state of Ohio, for the period of January 1st through December 31st, 2020. And ordinance number 2020-40, an ordinance authorizing the city finance director to enter into a modification agreement with Charles E. Harris and Associates and state auditor Keith Faber for the city of Ashtabula's annual audits in order to include the city health department and city port authority.
Thank you. Can I entertain a motion to waive the reading of the legislation?
So moved.
That was Ms. Haynes?
I think it was Ms. Foglio.
Ms. Foglio,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
And then who was second?
I did.
Ms. Haynes?
Said, yeah.
Thank you. Call the roll, please, Ms. Stensky.
Yes, Ms. Haynes,
Yes,
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
and Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, so we will waive the reading by a 7-0 vote. Can we have a motion on the charter requirements of 2 readings of the legislation? I will move. Can we have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Young. Okay. Please call any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Haynes,
yes,
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
and Mr. Roskovich.
Yes. And on passage, please.
Ms. Haynes,
yes,
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes. So tonight's agenda was legislation agenda was passed by a 7-0 vote. We come to the part of our meeting when they tell us something we don't know. Does any counselor or member of the administrative team have anything they would like to share with the council tonight? I think we've all learned quite a bit about different things. Does anybody have anything else? I would just like to say I'm here at home, obviously, and my wife has her office set up because she's working at home also. But I just, the city guys, the sanitation gentlemen have just gone by and this late at night. And Mr. Timoneer, if you can convey to them how much we appreciate the hard work they're doing and they're being out there every day. And, you know, they're essential employees, obviously. And I just really appreciate everything they're doing, you know, interacting the way they have to and keeping the city going forward. So I do appreciate that.
Will do, Mr. President. Yes, they've been tremendous in adapting. Obviously, our sanitation department picking up trash curbside is not something that we can just say, well, we're going to suspend that. But what we have done, and that's why they're coming by so late, we've divided that crew into two different crews. And one works in the morning, and then one comes in and starts at about 2 o'clock, I believe it is. And they go through, get all their stuff done, and then I've allowed them to clock out as soon as they're done with all the routes and all the dumpsters that they pick up. But they're doing a great job sticking to their own teams so that if, God forbid, we ever do get an outbreak in one, it doesn't shut down the whole department. But they have been great to work with. Same thing with Public Works. And of course, our police and fire department, who are responding to a lot of the stuff. Everybody is adapting. I know that our people have some fear in them over all of this going on. But I think we're doing our best to keep them safe, and they're doing their best to keep not only themselves safe, but their coworkers.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm very appreciative of what they're doing. And I imagine there is some concern from them. Do any other counselors have anything they would like to add this evening? Ms. Sensky, did you have anything that was sent to you?
I had an email that I shared with you all from Mr. Jack Nash, West Avenue, and he spoke with Ladine. Ladine, do you want to speak about what information Jeff asked you to, or what you looked at?
It looks like Mrs. Young's microphone is muted.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not hearing, and I see something.
I'm
popping
sorry.
up
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, we
okay.
can. Yes.
Okay. Yes. I had spoke with Mr. Nash, and the traffic that goes up and down West Avenue, I don't know what's causing them to go up on his line. I don't know if it's someone's making a left turn and it's causing them to swerve up into his property. But he had several tire tracks, and he has solutions that he would like to see done, but I don't know if the city can do it. He would like a center lane put in there, but we talked about guardrails. We talked about the speed limit. So, Mr. Timmerneer, you said you'd follow up with him, and I did send him a text message that you would be in touch with him.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. Ms. Sensky, anything else from any of the residents?
Yes, the other email I received was from Mr. Stephen Kellett. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, but he sent an email in regards to local broadband internet access, and then adopting a resolution in support of the broadband task force that's being led by the county commissioners.
Okay. Yeah, I think we received that today, right? That email?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Maybe we can get some time to look at that and to see what the county is doing, and then we can discuss that at our next meeting.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I did not have time to look today, but I believe just from my office, I've already written a letter of support towards that. I believe they were going after some funding to do more of a study in the county for broadband access. I know the committee that heads this up for the county, it's for all of us essentially, is doing a really nice job trying to figure out what we can do to better that access here. And I know that a lot of the brakes have been put on because of the pandemic we're going through right now, but we will keep watching that progress, and I, for one, am in support of it. It's not only for residents, but for our businesses. Some of them are actually putting in their own fiber lines just to make connectivity, and there's definitely a deficiency in South County of internet access. So it's something that the county is working on, that we're all working on in conjunction with.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else then? Anything else from any counselors? I guess we'll call the meeting adjourned. Until next time, I believe we will probably have to do something similar to this at our next meeting on April 20th. But we will certainly keep everybody in touch. Ms. Sansky has done a good job of notifying the press. So until then, I guess we will adjourn. Everybody stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.